The Elden Ring expansion has finally been announced, the Shadow of the Erdtree. It's in development, we've got a screenshot, and that's basically all we have. But we're going to break it down anyway. Let's go. Let me know in the comments how excited you are for this DLC and what you'd like to see. So, today, on a random Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you live in the world, and, a couple of days after the anniversary, and they held a stream, but didn't feel like announcing it there, we just get a random tweet from the Elden Ring account saying, "Rise tarnished and let us walk a new path together. An upcoming expansion for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, is currently in development. We hope you look forward to new adventures in the lands between." And they gave us a beautiful screenshot of someone writing torrent who I believe that would be Melina, I think. And that's really all the information that we have so far. I'm so glad that we finally have some sort of an announcement about something that is happening for this game. Now, there is a few things that we can have a bit of a guess as to what could potentially be in this DLC based on the leak information before, and then we also have this screenshot to kind of break down. So we'll do everything we know first, which is, I guess, this screenshot. So it does look like in this screenshot, we've got Torrent staring at a very shadowy looking Erdtree, and it seems like riding Torrent is Melina, so maybe there's going to be more of her involved in this DLC and potentially more information about the maidens and their role with the Tarnished and everything as well, which, we do get a fair amount of that in the game, and I won't spoil anything for anyone who hasn't finished it, but there is some stuff there towards the end. But it would be interesting to see what happens here, if there is more that comes out of, that story and behind the scenes. And even if this DLC is set in the future, past maybe a certain ending where the Erdtree is destroyed, and then in the screenshot, the Erdtree is clearly, not doing too well. There's very little light coming from that Erdtree, which is the complete opposite to in-game. It's a beautiful, big, vibrant thing you see all across the world. So potentially, maybe this is at some point where the Erdtree has died and we're trying to revive it, or potentially it's the events after the story based on maybe one of the specific story endings, which I don't think they would go down specifically. I feel like that's giving too much of a direction for where the story and everything is going to go. I feel like they probably want to leave the ending, or the original game's ending, a little bit more open-ended. So it could be, to me, something in the past, maybe before Melina gives Torrent to the player, the Tarnished. This is something maybe before then, so she's exploring the world with Torrent, the world before the events of the main game. Maybe we're going back into the past or something. Like, we'll talk to Melina at a site of grace and she'll be like, "Hey, let me tell you about things that happened before you came," or something like that, and we'll go back and see those events. But from everything else in the screenshot, it's very hard to really ascertain any kind of information. It's littered with ruins, which, is pretty common for where the game is at. There is some of those grave sites where you can grab different runes from the game littered out through there. And then I'm guessing these are ghosts or something, ghosts of the past, something related to do that, just with these different kind of white transparent structures and people seemingly all throughout. But otherwise, there's very little to grab from this screenshot. So not heaps in terms of just information about what is actually coming, what we can expect. Very, very, very little information here. However, there is leaked information that we don't necessarily know 100% what is coming, but we have a pretty solid guess, I would say, as to some regard, that a lot of this is coming, because a lot of the information from Sekiro Doobie, I'll have all of his information linked in the comments down below, but essentially with each patch for the game, he has been data mining and trying to ascertain essentially everything that we don't know about the game. Now, with each of these patches, there's been tiny little bits of information that have been added, and essentially we know that everything that he has been talking about, or at least most of the things, are things that the devs are actually working on and confirmed to be more or less something that may happen. Because of the Colosseums update specifically, he called essentially everything that was in that to some degree, like a lot of the audio files and, the construction of the Colosseums and everything. And we did get that in the game. So some things that he has mentioned to us in the past that haven't necessarily either been added to the game yet or may come in the future. The first is ray tracing, which is a feature I don't necessarily think Elden Ring needs. It would be pretty cool, but the game performs pretty poorly on PC anyway, even, regardless of the updates the game has got. So, ray tracing is cool. It'll look great, but I don't know if we really need it. There is new weapons mentioned, as well as new weapon categories. So the game already has 22 weapon categories. We've been ranking those in a couple of videos, like the colossal swords, katanas, daggers, etc. But there is more coming. Apparently there are 6 new unnamed categories that have been added to the game's files. So this could mean that there's going to be 6 new categories of weapons, or even just entirely unique weapons that don't fit within the other categories. So they're treated as their own category or something. We don't necessarily know specifically, but the main thing I think is the map 20 plenty information. So in a patch a few months ago, I think it was 1.06, it may have been 1.07. You guys might know better than me in the comments to remember the past, but in one of these patches there was mentioned that there is 2 maps that have been like created that aren't in the game yet, and we don't really know what they are. So there was M20, which suggests a new legacy dungeon, which something like a Stormvale Castle, for example, is a legacy dungeon. So something like to that effect, potentially that'd be at the end of the expansion, maybe say, you know, that you go through a brand new open world and then at the end there's a legacy dungeon with all sorts of, you know, typical things you would expect. There was also M45, which has mentioned that he has no clue what that is, and his guess is definitely better than ours. So what that could actually be, we've got really no clue. So that is essentially all the information we have, either leaked or just based on the screenshot. Now, when exactly will this be coming? Your guess is honestly as good as mine. I would expect, just based on my own maybe wishful thinking, I'm not sure, but I would say it would be this year. I don't think you make an announcement like this just randomly on a random Monday or Tuesday if it's not coming sometime this year. It's also strange to me that they held a stream for the anniversary, and, you know, even regardless of the stream, even they held this specific post of announcing the expansion till like 2-3 days after the anniversary. It seems strange to me. Maybe they were trying to push everyone towards the anniversary stream and, you know, just drum up interest and then announce it, but that just seems strange to me. It seems very typical of From Software, Elden Ring, you know, what we've seen in the past where they just throw out a random tweet. It's like, here, you know, this is coming. It's exactly the same thing they did with the Colosseum update. The Colosseum update, we just got a random tweet and then it was out the next day. And this is essentially the same thing, a random tweet, but it's probably not coming out tomorrow. We can probably confirm that it's not coming out tomorrow. But when this will come out, your guess is as good as mine. I'd be really interested if you let me know in the comments what your estimated guess will be. Personally, I am going to say maybe around the August timeframe. Let's say, you know, about 6 or so months from this announcement tweet, which seems pretty typical for some sort of an announcement to like a DLC coming out. I would expect that we'll get more information on this at the E3 time. You know, it won't probably be at E3, it'll probably be at whatever Jeff Keighley's event is this year and whatever he holds there, based on the fact that most of the Elden Ring information that we've had and trailers all have come from Jeff Keighley events. So I would anticipate something around June, a trailer at Jeff Keighley's event at that E3 time, and then maybe, you know, an August, September-ish, somewhere around their release date. I would kind of guess, but, you know, my guess is definitely not the word, because I have been expecting that we're going to get an announcement for this expansion for, I don't know, 6 months, and it never came, and then it finally has come. So I'm glad that on this random day in February, we finally got an announcement. But let me know in the comments what you think the release date is going to be, even the announcement date too. Maybe we'll do like a little mini competition, like put whatever you think the release date is going to be in the comments down below, and when it actually does come out, I'll screenshot that comment and put it in the first video after the release of this DLC. But I'm very keen to see what we get from this DLC. I'm glad that we finally have official confirmation, and we even have a name, Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm glad we've got more information, and I can't wait to see what it turns out to be. Thanks guys for watching this impromptu video that was entirely unscripted, so I hope I make sense. My name is NorZZa. I hope you have a great day.